Hey guys, Scott here. Nick Cage is coming out in just a few days, and I have been thinking for a while how I'm going to use his ridiculous perks. The most pressing one is, of course, Plot Twist, which is the silliest thing they've ever made on Survivor, where essentially you can just down yourself wherever you want and pick yourself back up. And if you do pick yourself back up, you're healed to full and you get an absolutely insane speed burst. So that is by far the standout, super fun perk of the patch. And I am trying to think of every stupid way I can use it. And there are a lot of obvious flop text to be done and things like that. But I want to spend this time thinking about and having you guys also suggest legitimate uses for Plot Twist, because I can think of a million meme uses for it, but I want to think of actual real uses for it. And we've got a pretty good list so far. So this perk may seem very silly at the offset, but it actually does have a number of really high level smart things that you can do with it. And I just wanted to go over them to show how it's not really a meme perk. It's funny in terms of meme value. It's extremely high on the list, but it actually does have a lot of value. So let's think of all of the things that you can actually do with the ability to down yourself whenever you want. So an obvious one is to combine it with Power Struggle and Flip Flop. What this means is if a killer is on one side of the loop and you know you're going to lose, like you're in a corner or you know you're in a bad spot, you could essentially just down yourself at the pallet, and with the flip-flop Power Struggle Unbreakable build, if the killer has to take more than 3 seconds to run around the loop to get to you, you will recover enough for flip-flop to be able to Power Struggle that pallet, which means you can basically make yourself unhookable at any time that you want whenever you get in your pallet. Thing is, though, you have to be smart about this. If you do it when the killer's too close, he can immediately pick up, and you're not going to get your Power Struggle. You can only do this on the other side of a loop where the killer's going to have to run around and beat you there. Now, with Survivor with Friends, this gets way harder for killer to deal with because you can't instantly pick up when there's a lot of coordination going on, because there could be a teammate just who does a normal pallet save. So against good Survivor with Friends, this is going to be a pretty frightening combo where you're going to have to worry about, is there a teammate here? Should I wait? But if I wait more than 3 seconds, then he's going to Power Struggle. What do I do? So that's going to be something to look out for killer. That's going to be a actual potent use of the power. Another very, very useful thing is the ability to slow the endgame collapse. When you are downed, as long as there is one person on a hook or slugged, the endgame collapse progresses much more slowly. I think it's 3 times as slow. And that is extremely useful if you're in an endgame scenario and you're not going to have enough time to maybe run out, or your teammates are trying to make the exit gate, but you know they're not going to have enough time. You can just down yourself at the exit gate and give them essentially 3 times as much time, which is very, very, very useful. So I can think of a number of scenarios where that'll actually just straight up save people's lives. And then there's also a bunch of perk counters too, things like knockout. You can just prevent knockout by downing yourself right before the killer would be able to down you, so knockout won't take place. Anything that applies on a basic attack like Jolt as well. You can deny the killer from getting Save the Best for Last stacks. You can deny the killer Corrupt Intervention at the start of the match if you really want to with no mither. It's hilarious. More of a meme than anything, but you can do that as well. Another interesting thing you can do with it is force a killer to eat your Decisive Strike. Because after you get off the hook, if the killer decides to tunnel you, you can just fall to the ground. And in that scenario, if you have Decisive Strike, the killer has to pick you up and you get DS'd, or you just pick yourself up and run away. So there's basically a lose-lose scenario for killer there. That combined with DS is going to be very strong for anti-tunneling. Now, DS is not super great anymore, so you'd probably have to do it at a loop or something like that. So use your 10 seconds of bar time to get to a loop, then down yourself, because obviously the 3 seconds of DS is not very good anymore. So you need to be very, very close to a loop, but you should be able to get there within 10 seconds. And then at that point, well, now you've got a really strong setup there, and that's going to be extremely useful. So forcing killers to pick up DS as well is another non-meme use of it. And it also avoids all negative like powers. Anything that applies, for example, the new Sadako, if you're holding a tape and she hits you, you gain a condemn stack. But if you just down yourself, you don't gain a condemn stack. So any killer that has a specific interaction with their power, if you want to avoid a Wesker infection or something like that, there are numerous things in the game that you can basically circumvent entirely by just downing yourself. And we've only just scratched the surface, in my opinion. The reason why this perk is so interesting is because it introduces the new mechanic of downing yourself. And there are so many non-meme possibilities of using this perk in a very, very useful way, and that is the thing I'm probably most excited for. I've done enough ruining of Survivor games, trying flop quests and Metal Man quests and things. I want to actually try to get real value from this. I know for a fact I'm going to be doing Overcome Lucky Break and Plot Twist. I get hit, I run away, and then I down myself somewhere, and now the killer has to frantically search for me in that time period, or I'm going to get myself back up. It's probably going to be less useful than the inner strength and quick and quiet version of the build, because with plot twist, the killer knows you went down somewhere, so they know, well, you can't have gotten too far. But of course, I'm still going to try it. But yeah, those are the things that I've come up with so far. And because I want to try to get as much value from the shit as possible, I want you guys to suggest any other ideas you have that I might not have thought of, because I legit think this is going to be a unironically useful perk. But that's it. Thanks for watching.